Hey, everybody. I am Johanna Hines, and I'm here with John Tousley. Raise your hand, John. And the other person is Leslie. Raise your hand, Leslie. And we are here today to talk to you about PGW, Two Rivers, and IPS books. And what we were thinking about, we have been mulling over what it means not to be together with you in a ballroom in St. Louis. And one of the things that we love most, of course, is talking with you about the books and pulling you into the booths and talking to you about the quirky and odd and wonderful books that we have that perhaps we didn't get a chance to talk to you about in the rep picks. So we thought this would be sort of our second best way to talk to you about those books. So we will start off with John. What's the book you want people to know about?
Actually, I won't be starting with a book. I'll be starting with a puzzle.
Oh, always with the...
Yes, that's right. The Lost Words Magpie puzzle. Here is the Lost Words Otter puzzle from last year that did so well. And we also have the Lost Spells coming from McFarlane and Jackie Morris this fall. So this new puzzle will be perfect for your wintertime puzzle doing. And I do have to say that it took me about 2.5 months to do this puzzle, and I actually didn't finish it, and we needed our dining room table back. We sent it to my 90-year-old father-in-law, and he did it in 3 days. So
you're kidding. It took us 3 weeks in the office to do that one.
We just gave up. I think it was this part right in here that we just gave up. One other quick mention of some puzzles. Tuttle is also doing some great little puzzles too. So I think they got 3 or 4 different Japan-themed puzzles coming out for us this fall too.
Very cool. So Leslie, what's on your plate? What's something you're loving these days?
Well, I'm lucky because I get to talk about a book that we all love in-house, and that is this one. I don't know if you can see it. It's called World of Wonders, and it's from Milkweed. Milkweed Editions, and the author's name is Amy Nez Kumatil. Amy Nez to her friends and to you. And this is a really wonderful collection of essays about nature and life and growing up, as she says, a brown girl in white areas. And Amy is a poet. This is her first book outside of poetry. The subtitle is In Praise of Fireflies, Whale Sharks, and Other Astonishments. The quote on the cover is from Casey Lemon, and it's "This book is about to shake the earth." And this book just shipped. It's one of the most beautifully written books that I've ever had the pleasure of having us sell. And I was a huge fan of Late Migrations, which Milkweed did last year, or a year and a half ago, actually, and was a great success. This book is already flying out the gate. And we are going to run out of stock, I am sure, and Milkweed will be printing as fast as they can. Check out your store, see if you have this book in here. It's so beautiful, and make sure that you have enough stock to get you through the fall.
The other interesting thing about that book, Leslie, is some of our booksellers will remember Ross Gay, who was one of the keynote speakers, I think 2 years ago at the Heartland show. And Amy and Ross are very close friends, and they have shared over the years essays and poems back and forth with one another about their gardens. And there was in Poets and Writers, the magazine, there's a wonderful article about her and her relationship with Ross as friends and co-writers together. So that should be something that booksellers, if they loved Ross Gay, this would be another book for them to put in the hands of those fans. So another book that I was thinking that would be really fun for us to make sure to highlight to everyone is from our friends at $2 Radio, and it's called Vegan Cooking. And a lot of you will know Eric and $2 Radio and sort of their when they set up to have a publishing house, they also decided that they were going to open a bookstore and a cafe to really be a third place in that community in Columbus. And it's been the cafe has been a very important part of their mission. And so in their wonderful way, not only did they write a vegan cookbook, which, I mean, these are great recipes, and I can attest, if anyone's ever been to the restaurant, they are just to die for. It's just incredible, incredible food. But also interspersed throughout the book are these wonderful little essays about the region, about the neighborhood, about the store, but in a really punk rock way. I mean, they're just funny stories. I know, John, you really love this book too.
Yeah, Speed Dog, and I can't remember the other character's name, but they're a hoot and a holler. And the recipes look great, and I'm not a vegan, but I do want to try some of that buffalo queso that he talks about in there.
Yeah, it's a perfect little stocking stuffer. It's just a fun, I mean, it just will make you laugh out loud. So make sure to bring that one into your stores.
And they're starting that as a series, aren't they, Johanna? Because there's the baby names one also.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. So what else is up for you there, John?
Well, I don't have a visual for this next book, but it's one I'm excited about. Have only read snippets of it. It's called The Burn Book, and it's coming from our friends at Dalkey Archive, tentatively scheduled for October, and it'll fit right in with the sort of anti-racism titles that are selling so well throughout the country. It's from an African-American author, where's his name? Vincent Carter, who was born in the 40s or the early 30s rather, contemporary of James Baldwin and Richard Wright, who is an expatriate in Switzerland and wrote this lovely book in 1970 that got stellar reviews, and it's sort of it's fallen off the radar, but leave it to Dalkey to find this unique voice and bring it out, and hoping that this does release in the next couple of months, and it should do well.
And I know we don't have the visual, as you said, John, but we're going to have an Edelweiss link here in the virtual booth with us.
Great.
That all the booksellers can check out too.
Right. It's a great compliment to the Walter Mosley's Awkward Black Man, because he would be an awkward black man in Austria, I'm sure. So
that's a really good comp. That's a really good comp. And I know a lot of you have reached out to us to get signed cartons of the Walter Mosley, which today is the 25th of August, and it is just about to ship. So, so that is on your shelves as well. What is something else that you just have been loving, Leslie? Is there something?
Well, I've been loving books that drive consumers to our independent bookstores, that make sure that they're buying them there, and create a demand. And that there are two right now. I'll talk about one since you mentioned the date. Vesper Flights from Helen McDonald just went on sale, and that has been fantastic to watch right away. And Helen wrote H is for Hawk, which was such a great success and was a surprise. This is not a surprise because she's become iconic in that time. And these are vignettes, actually. It's little pieces about how birds build their nest. It's all over the place. And really, I think, Johanna, you and I talked about, it's a kind of book that you can dip in and out of right now in a time when it's very hard to necessarily pay attention to a full length narrative nonfiction. And I know consumers are coming into your stores. We had, signed cartons available early on that all sold out, but many stores, as we're talking, have them right now. I hope they're flying out the door.
Yeah.
No pun intended, right? And if you guys haven't done yourself the favor of going to watch her conversation with Robin Wall Kimmerer on, Larry posted it on our, the Heartland, the actual webpage. It is just a stunner, and it will revive your hope in humanity, I think. I don't think that's an overstatement.
No, it was great.
It was really fantastic. Well, Leslie, you kind of inspired me just now to a book I didn't know I was going to talk about, but I think I will talk about, is a book from Heyday, which is normally, they publish a lot of books for California, but this book, if you did I get it the right way?
There you go.
There you
Now
go.
you got it.
Yeah. So this one, Nature in Your Neighborhood, I absolutely fell in love with this book when it came to my door. It's really little, it's a field guide. Am I doing that right? It's a field guide of these different creatures that are in your neighborhood. And I think that it's a perfect little book for people who may be intimidated by field guides or may be intimidated by the idea of nature watching, but we're all much closer to home. We're all paying attention to what's going on in our backyards in a way we never have before. And it's just a wonderful field guide for that, and it that explains things. It doesn't go too deep into detail, and it's a universal backyard book, which is to say that there aren't things that would be in California or Michigan. I mean, that it crosses over. It's a real national book. And John, you were saying that you've had some success. I know a lot of my booksellers are picking this one up, and you said you also had that experience.
Yeah. Even though it is Heyday, people just love their production values and their editorial sense. And like you said, this one isn't regional at all. So I've had great success with that throughout the Midwest.
Yeah, it's sort of a perfect little stocking stuffer. I mean, it's just a little gem of a book. So
I love that you guys brought that up. I actually forgot about that book. I don't know why. I haven't seen a finished one. So that's perfect for right now.
Yeah, it really is a great one. It really is a great one. John, what else? Tell us something good.
Well, just a real quick call out for Shuggie Bain. This published in hardcover last spring or maybe even last winter. It's done very well. I wouldn't say very well. It's done okay in hardcover, but the reviews have been stellar. And now it's shortlisted or longlisted rather for the Booker Prize. I mean, Grove won it last year with Girl, Woman, Other, and why not? Why won't they repeat it again? So I'm hopeful. I'm praying that it gets to the short list at least, and fingers crossed that it wins. It is a rather depressing book, but the critics have spoken. It's truly beautiful, and we're looking more from this author. Shuggie played guitar.
On that note, I thought I'd bring up a book that goes on sale next week. Another one that will really, and I'm sorry, hopefully the trains behind me are not causing. Maybe it sounds perfect for a background. We have next week The Lying Life of Adults. The Elena Ferrante novel is going strict on sale on September 1st. And, PGW has been distributing Europa, I think now for a year and a half. And it's been a real joy to work with this publisher and this incredible line of books. But this is something even more special, which is that we have a hardcover Elena Ferrante coming out at a time when people are looking for really great books to delve into. And this is the perfect one to have. So many people will be looking for this at your stores, and we will have lots of stock. So have fun selling it.
I love this idea that we're talking into the future, because I know that by now it's going to be a New York Times bestseller and it's just going to be flying out the door. People are going to be making so much money off of that book.
Yes.
Great, right?
Yep.
One of the things that I've been doing a lot this summer is starting to listen to music again in a new way. I just like it. Sometimes it's hard for me to track on full-length novels or real deep biographies or whatever. So anyway, I've been reading a lot about music along with listening to music. And one of the books that I thought would be really cool to talk about is this book, Rock Stars on the Record. And a lot of you will know Eric Spitznagel. He was a ghostwriter for Jeff Tweedy's book, for his memoir, and he writes a lot for the Rolling Stone. and he, in this book, what he did was he talked to different musical artists about the albums that changed their lives. And this is my kind of book because I love a good origin story, you know, and so it's just incredible to find out, like, what did, you know, Jane's Addiction, what album did they listen to over and over and over again and try and sort of perfect before they started writing their own music. And anyway, it's just a great compilation. It crosses all genres. I don't know if either of you have read it, but it just crosses all genres, different musicians, and he has such a great writing style. It's just very upbeat and fun. So I think that that's a really good book to have. And then just very quickly, one of the things that we've been most delighted about, of course, is that we've started to distribute for David Godine and with Black Sparrow Press. And that has just been such an honor. And one of the big books that they have coming out is from a musician, Richard Buckner, and it's Cuttings from the Tangle. And many of you will know Richard Buckner as a singer-songwriter. He writes these very ethereal ballads, but they're sort of surreal ballads. And Leslie, I know you're a huge fan of his as well. And this book is prose poetry, and they're little, it's like his, you know, they're more than his lyrics, and they are just a little less than his songs. They're almost like songs without the music behind it, if that makes sense at all. I mean, they're just these beautiful little stories and moments in time. And it's kind of what we love most about Black Sparrow Press, right? Like they've always done these really interesting, groundbreaking poetry books. And I think that you guys will find that Buckner's will be right up there. And one last thing to say about Buckner, just for a little street cred, if you don't know him, he used to be a bookseller. He worked for many years at a bookstore in San Francisco, and I can't remember the name of it, but maybe you know it, Leslie.
It just flew out of my head, and I know exactly what the store, where it is, but I can't think of it.
And then he decided to move east, and he worked for years with his friend Frank Reese in Atlanta at Acapella Books. So he knows bookstores, and I'm sure if you reached out to him, he would be, I mean, he's very engaging and friendly, and so he'd be happy to do something with you guys. So
it's interesting because, Johanna, what you said about him is, it reminds me, we all have a lot of cultural knowledge around books, all of us do, and then there's great gaps, so you're just not sure of who somebody is yet. And I remember when we first brought Roxane Gay's Galleys to SIBA many years before she'd ever published a book, and I had people come up and really just literally scream when they saw her name. And I thought, well, I got to know who Roxane Gay is. Now I do. And it was the same with Richard Buckner. When that book was announced in sales conference, I remember you and Cindy were like, oh my God. And I thought, well, I have to listen to his music. And I'm such a fan now. So thank you for bringing him into my life.
That's so great. That's so great. John, let's hear some more music. Got anything else?
Let's if you got that title for me, let's just segue into Sweet Dreams. Yes, thank you very much. This is from Faber and Faber, and they have an extraordinary history of publishing awesome music books across all genres. And this one hits the sweet spot for me. It's like the soundtrack of my life, the British music scene from 75 to 85. The author's, he's done some books before. I think Dylan Jones has got a really good track. He's really well respected in the UK. So we should get some positive reviews that migrate over when this releases in a month or two. I have to call out my first concert, though, was with a band in there as U2, was at Shea Auditorium in Buffalo, New York, 1983. The balcony was shaking. It was the War Tour. I'm not in the book, but it's really got that nostalgic feel for me, and I'm certainly looking forward to that one.
That's so cool. That's so cool. How do you follow that, Leslie?
Well, my first concert was Journey, so I don't know. So talking back to books, I have this on my phone, so I don't know if you can quite see this cover, but this is a cover of a book called Beneficence by Meredith Hall, and it's from David Godine again, actually. And it is this novel that is really an in-house favorite right now. It's, you know, booksellers, you talk to each other about books and you light your fires of passion and attention on books. And we do that a lot among the reps too. We love to read something and be the first to tout it. And this is, I think I'm about the 6th person to read this one in-house. And it's a novel. She lives in Maine. It's a beautiful, beautiful novel about a tragic subject. It's so beautifully written and evocative that it's part of the narrative. It reminds me of Map of the World by Jane Hamilton, actually, for those of you who think way back. And she's going to be doing a lot of virtual events with some of your stores, primarily, I think, in New England, but there's some outside of the New England area also. And there's great quotes on this one. Richard Russo, Richard Ford, Ursula Heggie have all given it great quotes. And I'm looking forward to having us sell this. We're thrilled to have David Godine, and it's really nice to have a couple of books to talk about today with you on that.
Yeah, that's a big, I mean, you have it on your phone, but it's a big, meaty book. And there's nothing so comforting as just a big novel that you can immerse yourself in. So that's a great book to remind us of, for sure. 2 other books that I wanted to make sure that we got in front of you guys. One is an old book, and when I was a bookseller at the Hungry Mind a million years ago, Stu Abraham put this book in my hands, and I had most incredible weekend just diving into this book, and it's Let Him Go by Larry Watson. And the reason that I'm bringing it up today is that that Mitchell Kaplan from Books and Books in Miami, as some of you know, is a movie producer, fancies himself a movie producer these days. And he has made this into a movie, and it's starring, Diane Lane and
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner, right. And so that's coming in October. So this is the old jacket that many of you will recognize. It's surely on your shelves, but there will be a movie tie-in edition coming in October. So be sure to look for that one.
And that trailer was fantastic. And that's a great book. I loved that book too.
Yeah, we should make sure to get that trailer somewhere here in this virtual.
We'll do that. Yep.
So we'll do that. And then I kind of hate to end on such a intense note, but Andrea Dworkin is a biography that New Press is putting out, and it's one of the most important books I think that we have on the fall list in terms of a biography that's coming right at the right moment, where we're understanding Dworkin's work in a new way. We're recontextualizing her writing. Her book last year, was it Pages of the Hot Slit? I can't remember what the title was, I'm embarrassed to say, but this actually complements that collection nicely. And I just think that this is a time where we have to understand her work in a new way, and it's one that I know will have a lot of reviews, and it will be one that I think a lot of people will be looking for. So I don't know if either of you have dipped into it at all or not, but
I haven't, but I think it's interesting that it's like I said, it's her time right now. She was back when it was a slam to call somebody a radical feminist and strike, which is how she was described, and was too radical. Right now, you cannot be too radical in this world right now, and she's a change maker in a way that a lot of people will start realizing when they read this book.
Right, and that's actually a good point too, because it does, the biography really looks at not only her life, but what it is to be a revolutionary, and sort of how she was able to negotiate that both in academia and then sort of out on the front stage. So, John, you've got to have a book to bring us home that's going to be a lifter.
I'm going to go with some Zen. How's that? We all need a little Zen. And this is from Pajama Press, A World of Mindfulness, who brought us the lovely book about a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago called A World of Kindness that did so well. Had a lot of support from our booksellers on that one. And this is just a continuation of that series. It does feature some new and upcoming artists that you might not have seen before, artists and illustrators. And I know I certainly could use a little more mindfulness in my life. And this is perfect for reading with your kids and stepping back from this crazy world we're in.
Amen.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Well, thank you all for, if you've watched this far, we would love to take you to the virtual bar. So we owe you a drink for hanging with us this long. But in all seriousness, it is just an honor to represent these books and to be able to speak with you about them, or speak to you, I guess, about them. We miss seeing your faces, and we are really looking forward to the day where we can take you to the bar and just delight in your company. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. That it's a real pleasure to be here. We will be together again one day.
Amen. Take care, everybody. Bye.